Hello and welcome to the first game of the semi-finals of the 7th NA Weekly. This game is between Dullahan as the Orc player in the top and Bikerushownz as his new favoured Marines in the bottom. So, Marines and Orcs, sort of the power mashup of this this patch really. Both considered the strongest two factions, and although I'm pretty sure it's quite consistently agreed that Marines are the strongest, Orcs do put up a very good fight in a lot of situations, and a lot of Orc players have been getting advantages over Marine players. So, Bikerushownz actually still going with very traditional setup. He has still the Assault Leap on his Dreadnought. Gabriel and Kill Team. Gabriel and Kill Team still taken by most players, honestly. Kill Team and Gabriel can sometimes be swapped out for the Librarian, who is seen as very powerful now, but Gabriel's ability to hold down a player's army just with all of his CC is very sought after, and the early power advantage of the Kill Team is just incredibly good. And on Dullahan's side, in fact, he has a very interesting setup. He has Warbus Gorguts, who is incredibly powerful in this meta with a lot of heavy weapons going around, a lot of tactical spam, a lot of Devastators, and even against Orcs, a lot of Looters and such. Being able to just block a lot of incoming shots is a very, very useful ability. Big Mech Wazmaka, whose turrets have proven to be quite a powerful use, his scrap turrets, and who can, with his tractor beam, who can drain a lot of health points from someone. And then Madred, which is an interesting thing, which I haven't actually seen anyone before Dullahan take. He is quite simple. He has a burrow move, sort of Nidus Worm kind of thing, and an incredibly powerful melee attack, but not much else. So we see some sort of early engagements here. Marines just taking some pot shots at some boys who are hyping up under the war towers. They're going to have to be a bit more careful once this war goes off, because these boys will just rush across the map towards them, so they're going to try and get away beforehand. Bikerushownz is getting a lot of requisition down, so he can have this powerful early force with this forward barracks, quite aggressively placed. And the Orcs having a very defensive time, placing his buildings right in front of his shield generator, but doing the typical wah and then boys forward. We're getting a banner put down here to help defend this point. That will be needed. 3 squads of tax here. Looks like an Assault Marine coming out by how long it's taken. Assault Marines getting 1 or 2 in the army, still very good for holding down these armies. If Assault Marine can get onto the shooters, that could be very good. The Assault leap forward there to try and catch out some boys in the back, but he doesn't manage to get them all. He's going for that one boy, but he actually got body blacked there on the corner of that ramp. That is very unfortunate for him, but he's going to jump up to this side and deal some damage to the generators that he hopes might have started going up here to just keep his generators. I believe he took this point, so he may have actually known that there wouldn't be generators owned there, but he's chasing some boys away now, putting some pressure on this shield generator. The boys over on this side are getting reinforced, so they're going to be able to come over again. And Bikerushownz is going to have to be careful. That banner's going to go away soon, and he will suddenly have a weaker force. But as we can see, 3 requisition points on the map. He's Bikerushownz is likely, from what I've seen him do in this expansion, going to keep on with his idea of going very heavily into tax with some a couple of Assault Marines, and getting a big force of them out, which will then allow him to, once he starts getting power, rush in the second escalation phase, rush to his preferred late game off those predators. Now we're getting the Kill Team with the Flamer jumped out here very early. We have some Assault Marines getting on the back lines, and the big Vortex Grenade going down. The Flamethrower is doing a lot of damage to this big horde of Orcs early. We don't see an arsenal, so any more flames can come down, but Bikerushownz is just looking for this big army of bodies, and these Orcs really getting absolutely roasted here from Dullahan. Big early loss. Losses of this side aren't often seen that early. But Bikerushownz now taking a big lead is going to go on to hopefully take out the shield generator for him. But a resource point, the power generator being taken here actually. Very interesting. A lot of players have been pushing for these quite hard now after the new patch. People have started to think that they are a lot more worth it. Now that games seem to be slightly harder to end quite as early. Although it still can happen, especially with Marines and their kill team. So this shield generator is going down. Gretchen's tried to save it, but couldn't do it. We have the other requisition point here going down, so still going all in on this big TAC and Assault Marine spam. Huge army out here. 2 Assault Marines and the rest TACs seem to be the way to go in Bikerushownz's eyes. And here we go. We caught right there the first energy going down. And this is sort of the setup for his late game transition by the looks of it. So the Orcs just continuing to spam out some more units here. He has got the pilot guns, so he can start throwing down some upgrades. But we're not seeing any Daka Hut yet to get out those looters to really give him some power against these Marines. He's going to have to get some really good engages to win any fight early on. But Bikerushownz not noticed this middle point, and so he's going to do pretty well. We have the hype war turret going up here, but the Assault Marines are actually going to jump onto it while the speakers are out, and it's going to die. Wow, I have never seen that pulled off. That is pretty aggressive move there, and then he can jump over to the rest of his army. He's going to do some shots at the other war tower now, while that's doing the war, and that's going to get taken out as well. This is a big bad downside to this now. The scouts gonna get a slam down, but the rest of the army isn't attacking, so he's not gonna get much there. However, this is really big for Bikerushownz. He's actually killed every war tower on the map now, and that's really annoying for the Orcs. He now has no way of warring, which is sort of the primary way that they make moves in this mid game. Bikerushownz is now spotted and is starting to take out this generator over here. The jump actually badly timed as the Orcs are starting to run out, but a big spike grenade hit there. A scout grenade is going to stun all these guys. The elite point is taken out, and that looks like it's going to be Gorguts, I assume, getting in the back line there. Going to start doing some melee shots. He's got a stick bomb there hitting those scouts. Gorgut is starting to hit in as well. Going to be jumping into this heavy cover and throwing this up, which will actually block all of the attacks from all of these other these Marines, which is very powerful. The Assault Marines are getting in there to stop the shooters, but after the rest of Bikerushownz's army has already bailed on this, so some slight mismanagement there as half of his army is going in and the other half is retreating. The kill team is going to come up here, but everything is just putting shots into Gorguts right now, and this is why Gorguts is so powerful right there. That fight, like, in most circumstances, should really be Bikerushownz's, but I mean, I guess thanks to having that elite point generator, he managed to get Gorguts out a little earlier than you would expect. Bikerushownz, we can see, is on 3 points, so that only gave him 1 point, but, you know, that's still something. That still got him Gorguts out just in time for this play. And suddenly, advantage might be coming to Team Orc again, but he needs to get something done on the map with this power. He has only 1 requisition and 2 power out, so his economy is far behind Bikerushownz's. And he's going to need to do some slots here. That looks like the banner's going to be coming down as the Marines are putting some work in. Kill team is going to return down. They're going to throw their vortex grenade and then get the flamethrower out. These the splits on the Marines here now to stop them from getting stunned like that again, but it's a bit late as it's already hit. This listing post is now doing damage. Gorguts is getting another big spin off, but the Orcs in the backline are already taking damage from a lot of the other sources of damage than just these attacks over here. So the attacks are all splitting up. Once this spin ends, some more damage can be done. The flamethrower on the other side is going to do an absolute ton of damage before these boys manage to get them in melee combat to stop that happening. More attack Marines are now coming up from the back again. This fight is very close here. It's perhaps starting to swing the way of Dullahan. He's got this extra squad of shooters in here who are going to do a good job. This first squad attacks in the back are going to go down. The scouts are now going to get caught in melee combat. Gorguts is now going on the troops, which I feel is very indecisive. He was so close to taking out that listening post that I feel like, you know, you either never went on that listening post in the start or you stayed to finish that listening post. I feel like that's a really big mistake from Dullahan. And, you know, now the reinforcements from Bikerushownz have caught up. as well as Dullahan's reinforcements. This has now suddenly turned back in Bikerush's favour. That looked so close there right up until the end, when suddenly another squad of scouts and a squad of devastators got here, and Dullahan made the mistake of pulling back slightly too early. Doctrine Chapel now pumping out some more devastators. We have the arsenal going up so he can start getting some upgrades on his marines. War Tower here, gonna give the orcs a way to attack. He has started getting the tank busters as well. Now, an interesting point with the tank buster, in a few games of Dullahan that I've seen recently, he really favours these tank busters still, even though a lot of players, like other than Bikerush, haven't been getting these big mech forces that they used to. It's still a very strong lane game, and these tank busters will do well, but right now they're not actually as powerful. He's going to be getting a good amount of work from them if he starts hitting this shield generator with them, but actually going to cool down Diomedes to hold this off while the rest of his army tries to come across the map. Perhaps not the best idea, as it looks like Diomedes is just going to go down. Not Diomedes, sorry, Gabriel Angelos. Diomedes is the chaplain. That's my bad. Yeah, he's actually just going to throw it away there. I don't know if that was worth it to save the generator, but Gorguts is also down, so maybe it becomes okay, because you still have the advantage overall. This War Tower, not quite up yet, but is going to be a nice aggressive place to stage Waz from when it is complete. And Bikerush is just spreading his army out across the map right now, making sure he has some decent coverage. His army is becoming mainly the heavy bolter devastators, which is a very good choice. Seeing as this big horde of orcs here, I've seen a couple of too many people getting las cannons because of how powerful they can be. But until the tanks come out, which haven't been coming yet, they really don't end up being that useful. War Tower going to go out here. You get a good view of this one. Just watch these boys get hype. Oh yeah. I love the animation for this. But a big stun grenade going off there immediately. Devastators down from the high ground, just putting a lot of damage in. The kill team and get dropped in the back. More units should be coming in from across the map for Bikerush. Bikerush's army is very split, so it's not getting a hugely good start to this fight off here. But the kill team have managed to disrupt the back line enough that these orcs in the front line are getting killed down. They have taken out a devastator squad as well as that kill team, but the rest of Bikerush's army has now converged in to be able to do something. But the orcs are taking that as a win and leaving, which is probably the right decision. Devastator squads all out across the map, not ready necessarily to deal with this big orc army. I'm interested in the tank buster, getting the tank busters this early. I would normally think Lewis. I assume he's thinking that he knows how Bikerush plays. He knows he should be rushing for that Dreadnought Predator late game army, but he doesn't seem to be doing right now, and so these tank busters aren't actually doing all that they're worth. They're catching out some marines out in the front, but they were also just going to take a lot of damage. This listening post is hitting in. The tank busters from the top are firing and doing very little damage because they're tank busters and there aren't any tanks. We've got a little squig. Squig gonna do something? Squig? Ooh. Squig gets alright. Just a single model of devastators, but you know, that's pretty decent. That's a good 20 DPS loss. I have a war going down over here. Wonder how many people this will actually affect. I believe war has range. Yeah, war does have a range, so not actually going to hit anyone. I wonder if that was just a mistake, if that was a misclick. But Dullahan is running over the map to get this point. Although we can see over here, on the other side, Bikerush is also not going to let this go unchallenged. So I don't know if he's going to actually take anything out or if he's just going to come back. He's going to catch this war tower up on the high ground, which might actually slow his forces down enough from getting down there that will be very bad for him. And here comes the first traditional Bikerush Dreadnought, which is actually going to send the tank busters all over the place and then go for some shooters. So actually all the tank busters are going to get some pretty good shots in. The war tower up on that middle ground for the Orcs has been taken out by this big squad of Marines, which are going to hit onto the back line of all of the Orcs. But the Orcs army, there's another Dreadnought coming in here just to hold these down. So I guess Bikerush is thinking he hopes he can do as much damage as possible to the structure of the Orcs while these Dreadnoughts are just pounding on. And this first Dreadnought actually isn't going to die because Dullahan feels so much like he needs to get back here and defend the latter part of his army. And now this Orc army is actually stuck in a really awkward position between these Dreadnoughts and all of these Marines. The Devastator is now setting up, quite clumped, could get quite badly taken out by some sort of AoE, but so much of the force has been softened up by these Dreadnoughts and is now being caught up by Gabriel Angelos in the center that actually he just doesn't have anything left. Bikerush has entirely caught this army and crushed it. Those Dreadnoughts getting dropped down has just seems to have entirely taken Dullahan by surprise, and now this big army of Devastators and Scouts that have been made up early game by Bikerush only has to chase away the two Orc heroes, and he can see them with these Scouts. He's going to hit no, he's going to miss a stun grenade. He's going to miss another stun grenade, and then he's going to hit a stun grenade, although unfortunately Gorguts is spinning, so he's not actually going to do any damage, although the Wazmecha has to be controlled slightly here. Calling down some scrap. But this big Marine army won't be scared even if he does get that up into a scrap turret, and the spin is about to finish. And as soon as the spin finishes, you're going to see a lot of damage start being able to go down onto these heroes. Orcs coming down, so it looks like he might want to turn here. Bikerush is going to back off. Lot of Scouts in this, so not actually as scary an army as it possibly looks, but falling back into the listening post, and with his Devastators bearing down on this Orc army as well, and Angelos ready to get in there and mix things up, this is going to be very very effective here. You can see a lot of upgrades going down, a lot of upgrades actually queued. Oh, not the greatest macro there by Bikerush. Could be getting a lot more out of his money. But his money is at least down. Look at all those Scouts. Holy moly. That really is quite ridiculous. But on the other side, rather than having too many upgrades queued for bad macro, these Orcs aren't actually getting upgraded that much anymore. He has the mech shop out to try and get some response to this. It's quite a split focus here, the Bikerush's force, because he has his Devastators, but he also has the Dreadnoughts, which are now a threat, and the possibility that as he is now in tier 3, of getting some Predators out, which are really going to be a pain to the Orcs. But as we can see, the Orcs are with that scrap going to make the truck or the track, the heavy track, big track. Not heavy track, big track. Which I think is great. I think it's really cool. I'm not sure how good it is yet. I haven't seen enough people make it, but I do think it is, it is obviously one of the Orcs' more late game tools, along with the Death Dreads. And it is very cool to watch. Very heavy tank buster army. He has added some looters in now, actually. It's a bit late for that, but, it's cool. It's good to see him adding some looters in there. He is a big army here that he needs some looters to deal with. But right now, tank busters are not going to be doing much. As soon as that Predator or Dreadnought, whatever does come down, comes down, then we're going to really see the tank busters come good. But right now, they're actually kind of a bit of a less useful unit in this setup. Angelos is just kind of taking a beating up here for seemingly no reason. The Scouts also running in, taking a bit of damage, so maybe, Bikerush not quite on top of everything he's doing. Kill team are going to get dropped back in. They are going to pick up the flamethrower and go into hitting some of these guys. The artillery fire from the Orcs' big track is starting to come in as well. And there is now a war going to go down. These orcs just straying slightly outside of the war zone, but some of them will still get it. They are catching out the kill team here, which is quite a big move. Angelos did actually escape there, which is kind of funny. More scouts getting made. Holy moly, this, you know, there really is a lot of scouts here. Scouts and Devastators going down. And cannot see the drop pods at all, but I'm assuming these drop pods are getting filled with stuff now. We are getting the laser coming down, the big orbital laser. Doing a little bit of damage to this stuff. There we go. Now he's caught them in the beam. He's going to get a kill on 2 of these squads of orcs. And there is now a Deathcopter running around with this. This is something that I've seen Dullahan do a little bit, and it's a very entertaining strategy, just using the Deathcopter to run the rocks into the Marine Army. However, it looks like it might get a hit here. Bikerushownz didn't use anything to pick it up, so it's actually getting still a ton done, even though it died quite quickly, and we can see just how effective that is. That was great. He managed to take out this building and a load of Devastators. He actually took out half of Bikerushownz's Devastators there. And now the Wazmaka scrap cannons look like they might be able to take out another one. Apologies for that. I coming down with a little bit of illness recently, but they didn't manage to take out that other squad of Devastators, and the Orc army is now putting up some pressure on the top of this hill. But the Dreadnought is getting dropped down, but getting dropped far enough away from the Orc army that it's not really going to do that much. And as he's going in to fight the War Chief, which I believe is the wrong thing to do, he's just going to take so much damage from these anti-tank Orcs in the back. However, they are all going to scatter now that another Dreadnought comes down and drops into it. We've got the chainsaw going out from this chopper down here. Wazmaka still in here, beaming up one of those Dreadnoughts. Gorguts is now taking on this generator, backing off with a spin. Gabriel Angelos is here. This chopper has not been focused by anything and is still going to be going down. This big squad of scouts in the side still doing their thing. And Dreadnought looks like it's been left in here too much. Everything else is going to seem to leave. Well, Gabriel's going back in. The Dreadnought's going to go down. This heavy squad of looters and tank blasters on the top of this high ground are going to do an absolute ton of damage against the Marine forces that are pushing in. But now their Devastators are up on the other high ground, doing equally as much damage to the heroes of the Orcs. The scrap turret is now starting to bip away up on the units on this high ground, but the Marines are going to come back, and we just have a big blobby army of Marines here going to get teleported home. Oh, some interesting graphical effects, we shall call them there. But more upgrades going down now from the Orc side. He has his big track here. He has his big army of Orcs. So, looking at this overall, Bikerushownz still has the economy lead, which he has had for the whole game. He hasn't managed to keep a lot of his late tech alive, but the Orcs don't have a ton of late tech, apart from obviously their tank blasters, which are sort of the backbone of their late game army. Bikerushownz, quite a lot of money, getting some more Marines out here now, with the Flamers. So they're going to try and hit some Flamers on here, probably. They got a big stun there, took out a lot of their ability to get those Flamers off and do a lot of damage with it. The Scouts are sort of split up here and there, getting their shots in, making sure none of them get caught up too much. Dreadnought getting dropped in the back, Kill Team getting dropped in the back, Dreadnought getting dropped in the front. Wazmaka's tractor beams doing a ton of damage to this Dreadnought as this Dreadnought tries to push up. The War Tower is going to go off. We have some of the Marines troops kind of getting left behind. The Devastators are trying to have to reposition from the back of here. They are gonna. This loot is gonna get absolutely shredded, but the kill team is going down as Gorguts is up there. But now we have the vulnerable Dreadnought coming down from Bikerushownz. Very powerful unit, but it's sort of just been stuck into the fire immediately, except there aren't any tank busters in this force anymore. And now both sides backing off. Either side wanting to push too much and get rolled. This colour scheme, much better than the gold that Bikerush was going for in his Eldar. It's black and gold, especially on this Vulnerable Dreadnought, looking absolutely fabulous. Look at that. The guy looks like an absolute beast. On the colour side, much less enthusiastic about Dullahan's colours. Not feeling it as much. Bikerushownz, as always. Actually, not as always. As always, using the gold, but actually making his kits look good this game. And so he's now going to push up onto this. He's getting his Devastators into position. He's has some scouts up here to scout and get some pressure over the front. He's going to take out this war tower. Not sure if he's going to try and push up this shield, seeing as Gorguts is already in there. Gonna rebuild the barracks though, so you can start replenishing some of these scouts that have started dying. Dreadnought wandering around on this side of the map, just doing its own thing, just chilling. And we do have now our first Predator coming out here, which actually doesn't have much gold on it. Surprised how ungold these are. But the tanks are now coming out. We're getting a second Predator coming out. I'm sure he must have something in his drop pods. We do have some tank busters coming up again though. Only 2 right now, but he's should be making a third. Making a Death Copter here as well, which I assume will be another rock delivery system. The Venerable Dreadnought trying to push up to do some damage to this this shield, but not liking the artillery fire that he's coming under by the looks of it. Interesting time to push in now. You can see the spin is already going, so you should probably avoid it. Oh, getting thrown right into the back there is Angelos, and he doesn't look like he's going to be having a great time now. The Marines are very far back. I don't know why he's pushed in with such a small amount of his force. Gabriel is just going to go down there. The chopper is going to go down in retaliation, by the looks of it, but the Dreadnought taking some severe damage. These servitors are all going to get taken down. So Gabriel Angelo sort of just thrown in there in a sort of unwise engagement, but this looks like it's preparing for this last fight, and the Marine side is looking very strong right now. Still, unfortunately, we cannot see what is in those drop pods, but I'm sure there'll be stuff in those drop pods. And if a couple of Dreadnoughts come down, maybe a couple of Death Storms onto this Orc army, this is definitely not looking good. We are not seeing a huge amount of tank busters. We've got a couple of Death Copters. Only one squad of tank busters now. Okay. What is Bikerushownz waiting for now? He's getting a Whirlwind, he's getting a Dreadnought, he's getting some more Devastators. Just being a typically careful Bikerushownz. Killing some scrap. Killing some of these big track mines. Walking over a few, but they don't seem to really do anything. Actually, just some scrap turrets and choppers around here. Choppers both just died to do nothing by the looks of it. Apart from using them for that rock play, I really do think choppers do seem to be pretty useless. They just die so easily. Like, it's 100 power just down the drain. Fantastic animation of the war again, and this time Looks like we'll go forward. He's still just gonna hide under the defensiveness of Gorguts' spin, and Bike Rush is gonna go in. The spin has already ended, as it was sort of earlyly done. The orbital cannon is going up here. If he can hold enough of this, all can't be down. And a couple of the units there walked back into it. That's a big CC that goes down there now. The Marine Army is gonna just push straight in. Shield generator going down. Some units getting into the back line. A dreadnought, 2 dreadnoughts, and the banner going down there. The big track has been destroyed. The turret is starting to do damage, but the orbital cannon's going up there. Gorguts has died in the front line, and the rest of the Marine Army is just waltzing in. This venerable dreadnought and these predators going to do a ton of damage to these buildings here. The turret is going down incredibly quickly with just a few boys there to defend it. And this is looking like the last push here. This is an incredibly powerful army coming up from Bike Rush. The Venerable Dreadnought doing a ton of damage to these buildings. Another Dreadnought getting dropped in the back line. This is what I'm talking about when Bike Rush pushes in with these armies that already look like they can win. He's always going to have 3 Dreadnoughts in these drop pods just ready to go. I honestly would have liked to see one of them be a Death Storm, but that is going to be enough. And in the first game of this series, Dullahan is going to go down.